Oh snap, the printer messed up. Could you imagine being shipped comic books and then be told, hold up, you can't sell any of them. We sent them to you by mistake. By the way, we're also not going to release it.
And then think about what happens to the collectors who were able to purchase some of those before they got recalled. That's what happened on number 10 on the list for Walking Dead 116, the third print from 2014 that never came out.
Walking Dead artist Charlie Adler went to England to do a signing, and Diamond mistakenly sent them comics that would only be released in part. The third printing would never see distribution except for what happened overseas. And we have a 9.6 that sold for the first time this week in comic history, selling for $1,200 for a comic book from a series that just had its series finale on television.
Walking Dead is hot right now with that series finale. There's about 25 to 50 copies circulating of this third print. 22 were graded, which includes one 9.0. Last GPA sale was $1,426 back in 2018. One 9.6, which just saw its first sale, as Tom mentioned, and there are 20 9.8s on the census. Last GPA sale was $1,600 in October of 2021, and the record high is $1,900 during the comic boom in April of 2020.
We talk about so many comics every single week. Hit the like, slap the subscribe button. We keep the community informed, and this next book is probably going to see a spike because a lot of people don't know about it. At the list at number 9, we have SpongeBob Comics number 43, debuting in 2015, an homage to The Todd Father, one of the best, most iconic covers of all time. Incredible Hulk 340, being homaged by Bill Sienkiewicz.
It's a crazy cover, and it's part of this trend that we've been seeing. We've been through the nostalgia cycle. We've been through the 80s cartoon cycle. Now we're into more modern cartoon characters. SpongeBob Comics 43 from 2015. There are only 8 on the CGC census and only 2 record sales on GPA. The first one is a 9.6, which sold for $215 in August of this year, and 5 9.8s, the first GPA sale this week.
The 9.8 sold for $375 this week. The 90s tunes are next, clearly at the list at number 8. Batman 237. What a historical Neal Adams, Denny O'Neil, Marvel and DC key.
Not only do we have another Neal Adams cover making the runners-up list, the first appearance of the Reaper, but we have one of the first books that would be a Marvel DC crossover.
That's right. We have the Rutland Halloween Festival that was popularized by a comic fan, bringing in creators, artists, writers, the entire industry together year over year. Neal Adams, Denny O'Neil, bringing this Halloween parade to the pages of comic books, featuring multiple Marvel characters and creators from both publishing companies dressed up in Halloween costumes.
So not a crossover in story, but more in cameo. We have Marvel characters, Havoc, Thor, Spider-Man, and Captain America, but it's people dressed up in these Halloween costumes.
We even get real life appearances of Bernie Wrightson, Jerry Conway, Alan Weiss. I mean, this is a major moment, and the creators who made it happen, shout out to Harlan Ellison, Neal Adams, and Denny O'Neil. This was a major moment of just like putting aside the differences of the main comic companies and bringing them all together. We have an 8.5 in August, selling for $254, up 18%, now selling for $299. This is a thicker book. There's a backup Batman story, so it's tougher and high grade. That red cover is prone to so much damage. There's 661 slabs on the census, a lonely 17 graded at a 9.8. The record high was set in January for $2160.
We have another Bronze Age book with a red cover, some more vibrant than the next. The very next month, this book sold for $1,560. There are also only 42 copies in a 9.6 on the census. Last GPA sale was in June of 2020 when it sold for $727.
This book has it all. Marvel and DC, creators, a horror narrative detective story in the 70s led by Batman. It don't get better than that, comic fan. At the list at number 7, Incredible Hulk 115, debuting in 1969, a powerful leader cover. I think the spec on this villain is still strong. What do you think, Jem?
We know the leader's coming. Tim Blake is going to reprise his role. He's going to show up in Captain America New World Order, and it's a beautiful Leader and Hulk cover by Herb Trimpe.
A 9.2 last selling in 2021 for $165 is up 60%, selling for an all-new high for the first time in comic history of 264. There are 284 slabs on the census, 17 of which are graded at a 9.8. The last GPA sale was for $907. That happened in January of this year.
And we just have 38 9.6s. The last GPA sale was $336 in August of this year, and there are only 45 copies of the 9.2 that just broke record.
We only cover 10 books from a much, much larger list on the best comic app in existence to learn about funny books, to keep up with the marketplace, get suggested pricing, and so much more. It's called Key Collector Comics, and you can utilize code TOM101 to support this show directly, but also get yourself access to a free 2-week subscription of the app in its entirety. You can get access to this giant list of record-breaking sales and what's being described as a cold market faster than when we hit the mic. Now, I'm going to take you to October 1991 when this book came out, because the following month in November, we would see Spider-Man 16, the last issue Todd McFarlane would do on the Spider-Man run. And then in December of that year, Rob Liefeld and Jim Lee would go to Marvel and tell them that they were leaving to form Image. We're talking TMNT. We're talking a McFarlane cover. We're talking Flaming Carrot, number 27.
And I was today years old when I found out this book existed, and now I have to have it. McFarlane drawing the Turtles, amazing book, and not a lot of slabs on the census, only 66 total. That includes 22 9.8s, 25 9.6s, which had a last GPA sale of $76 in November of this year.
And now we have a 9.8 selling last in 2021 for $284, up 36% with an all-new high of $387. A very unique independent comic book, something really dope to come out at an important and pivotal time in comic book history. At the list, at number 5, really cool to see this ratio variant here. Green Lantern number 55 that came out in 2010, featuring Lobo with all those rings. We have a homage.
An homage to Green Lantern 49. We're post Blackest Night. We have a total of 82 slabs on the census, which includes 46 9.8s. One just came to market this week. It sold for $375 last year in 2021, up now 33%, selling for $500.
The James Gunn spec has been going crazy since the DC takeover. Lobo has been selling more than most comic books as of late, and this is one of his better covers and an homage to boot. And this is a fantastic issue where we get reminded about the powers of Lobo. He gets quadruple teamed by multiple lanterns. This is a character who takes on heroes like Superman. He is not someone to be reckoned with.
That's why they call him the main man. Can't wait to see DC utilize him on screen. Moving on to number 4 on the list, we have Ultimate Fallout 4, and we're talking about the newsstand.
First appearance of Miles Morales. A tweet has been posted soliciting the December 13th drop of Across the Spider-Verse. Jem, I am getting some FOMO right now. This may be one of the best times to invest in Miles,
especially for the direct edition. Now, the CGC census is comprised of both. We have 14,100 total. Now, looking at a CGC 9.6, there are 4,032 copies. The last GPA sale for a direct edition was $565. Now, the newsstand, its last GPA sale is its only GPA sale, September of 2020, for $6,650.
The record high for this book at a 9.6 was $2,400. A 9.6 going for under $600 seems ridiculously cheap. And then it doesn't stop there. Take a look at the 9.8, in which there are 3,650 copies that exist. The last GPA sale is $1,750. This month, the heights this book reached was this year for $44.99 in April. That brings us to a 9.0 newsstand. Because the market is predominantly direct market copies, it's believed that there are under 5% of the print run with that barcode, that newsstand. And when you get to this high of grade, you're talking under 1% of the market.
It sold for $3,500 during the comic boom of 2020, and here we are in 2022. It's up 29%. It went up $1,000, selling for $4,500.
The trailer is going to inevitably spike this book up even more, and imagine what's going to happen when we get a hint of Miles in the MCU. This book is going to go right back up. I want to know your thoughts. What do you think about these prices in the comment section below? And we're going to kick you over to our Golden Age comic specialist.
All right, guys, landing at the number 3 spot is Journey to Mystery number 1. We all know this title because 82 issues later had the first appearance of Thor with Journey to Mystery 83. But before all our hero stuff began, it was a horror title. And this cover was done by the legendary artist Russ Heath. Now, we just saw a 2.5 sale of $3,749. That's up 141% from the 2015 sale of $1,554. Now, there's another special book on this list that I want to discuss, and that's Silver Streak Comics 15. Came out in 1941. It's a Lev Gleason publication. An extremely cool book when you take a look at it. You got this huge mummy in the foreground, you got the 2 heroes running at you, but you also have the amazing details on the bottom right-hand corner. You have a spider with this huge skull on its back, and this octopus shrimp creature on the far left on top of a sarcophagus. Now, there's only 15 graded copies of this book with a blue label by CGC, and we just saw a 5.0 sell for $3,000. Now, instantly you think, wow, that's a lot of money. But if you dig deeper, that 5.0 was a light tan to off-white page quality copy. If this had been at least a cream to off-white, this book would have been $5,000 plus. 2 awesome books, and you really can't go wrong with either of them.
We appreciate the Golden Age Guru for gracing us with his presence. Moving on to number 2, one of my personal favorites. It's Venom. It's Lethal Protector 1, but it's the Black Error variant.
We have Eddie Brock going full anti-hero, going to San Francisco in his first mini-series, and the initial run of this had a foil red cover. But many of the books, approximately 2,000 of which, didn't get the foil, leaving the color black, thus creating the Black Error variant.
What's even more scarce than the Black Error variant is the retailer incentive gold variant, where that error produced an all-white cover. Anyway, there are 220 slabs on the CGC census, which includes 2 Gem Mint 10s, 76 9.8s, 47 9.6s, and 25 9.4s.
21 9.2s and 16 9.0s. We have an 8.5 that came to market this past week. We haven't seen one of these sell since 2007. Very low print, very coveted in the collector's market. It sold for under $300, $275. But one came to market this week for an increase of 1,122%, selling for $33.60. Hot damn.
A $3,000 increase. That book used to be plentiful before the comic boom, and it looks like somebody bit the bullet and grabbed that 8.5. Moving on to number 1, the top runners up. We have Superman, the Man of Steel, issue 18 from 1992, the first appearance of one of my favorite DC characters, Doomsday.
Yo, we have a 9.9 that came to market that shattered records. But before we tell you about it, I want to give you one last chance to join the community and support this show directly. Join the December Mystery Mail Call. Jem, what do you think? This may be one of our best months to date.
You've got Peach, you've got David Mack, and now we have a third exclusive added to the box just recently.
That's right. We have Mr. Easta, an homage to Johnny the Homicidal Maniac, going in 1 per box, variants at random, by cover artist Nate Johnson. Peach Momoko going in 1 per box on our brand new title, Demon Wars, Shield of Justice, number 1. And last but not least, Ninja Funk number 1, cover art done by David Mack, trade dress versions. We have foils and medals going out 1 per box at random. Support this show. Go to comictom101.com to join the community. Link in the description. And Doomsday at a 9.9 last sold in 2016 for $628. Sounds like it was due for some price correction. Every single year, Jem, doesn't it seem that Doomsday spikes up at some point? He's so classic.
He's also literally made of spikes, and this is not a scarce book by any means. It had 5 printings. There are 4,155 slabs total for the first printing on the CGC census, but there's only 5 9.9s. There are only 3 publicly recorded sales, starting back in 2016 when it sold for $628. It sold for $586 the next year in 2017, and now we have this week's record-breaking sale. That 2016 sale of $628, that was the high. It's up now 736%, selling for $5,250.
The book hasn't been seen in 5 years, and when it came out into the marketplace in what's being described as a chilly, a cold market, it blew past an increase of $4,500. Hot damn. We appreciate your time today, and as always,
Geek responsibly and stay minty fresh.
let me know what you think about this list in the comment section below. Enough said. Join myself and this guy on the best new app to buy and sell collectibles. It's called Whatnot, and we teamed up on a run of Do You Poos.
We did an homage to my favorite group of all time, Bone Thugs and Harmony, and we started with their first studio album, Creepin' on a Come Up, but this time it's Poo Thugs, Pooin' on a Come Up.
Both links are in the description. Join us on Whatnot and take a look at these 2 other videos. We made them for you. Have a great week.